Do you have an eagle eye? Let's check it out. Look at these pictures and try to figure out what's wrong here.
Yeah.
Looks like a pretty usual scene to me, but something seems to be off. Can you understand what it is? The bus doesn't have any side mirrors or windshield wipers. How about this picture? What's wrong here? See that man in a yellowish shirt? It seems that he's holding his umbrella over his head, but in reality, the umbrella is floating in the air. The man isn't touching it. Oh, that's nice. Seaside and palm trees. But a few things are definitely off in this image. How many can you find? First of all, what is that tap that is pouring water into the sea? Then, that girl on the left is definitely dressed too warmly for the seaside. Instead of flowers, this young lady is holding some broccoli. And this girl is building a sandcastle with the help of a fork. Okay, the next image for you. Are there any mistakes here? Have you noticed that this electric cord is ripped? It's very, very dangerous and may cause a fire. These people seem to be having a blast at the pool, but not all of them are doing it correctly. Who's made mistakes here? This guy on the left has forgotten to take off his boots before diving into the pool. That young lady has brought along an iron. No one cares about this duck with its ducklings enjoying a swim. And that lifeguard is playing the sax instead of watching people. If you noticed all those mistakes, great job. The next image is for you. What's wrong here? Have you spotted that colorful snake slithering next to the wall? What is it doing here? As far as I know, Santa Claus isn't supposed to be in the classroom as well. Then, that girl is using a carrot instead of a pen. And the guy in the bottom right corner is brushing his teeth, right in the classroom. Here we see people walking in the park on a lovely sunny morning, but not all of them are doing reasonable things. Can you find out what's wrong with this picture? Is that a tiger? I'm not sure you're allowed to bring these animals to parks. Instead of a kite, this girl is playing with a bathtub. This elderly lady is eating a blue apple, and there are two suns in the sky. Ah, it explains everything. It must be happening not on Earth. Look at this picture. Where is the bank robber hiding? He's over there, behind the bushes. The bank robber has managed to escape from the police. Try to figure out where he's hiding now. See that maintenance hole? That's where the criminal is. This robber is just too fast. He's escaped again and is now hiding in one of these fitting rooms. Help the police find him. He must be in the middle fitting room. See that bag with all the cash he has stolen? Look at this image carefully and try to figure out what's wrong here. In reality, the guy's holding a tube of toothpaste in his left hand, but in the reflection in the mirror, he's got nothing in his hand. How about this picture? What's wrong here? Is this lady charging her cat? This picture looks off too, but what exactly seems strange? It's the girl in the front. She isn't reflected in the water. Now, the next image to challenge your observation skills. Does anything strike you as odd in this picture? Look at the TVs. They show different things in reality and in the reflection in the mirror. Now, let's wind down a bit. Don't take this next riddle seriously, okay? What do you call a fish that wears a bow tie? You call it sophisticated. Got it? Another one for you. What time is it when an elephant sits on a fence? Duh, it's definitely time to fix the fence. What kind of band never plays music? Rubber band, of course. Tear me off and scratch my head. What once was red is now black. What am I? I'm a match. And now, a bit of math. How can you move one number to make this equation true? Move the number 2 half a line up, and you'll get this. Now, you're in a library, trying to get a book, you knock a chair over. All of a sudden, there are 22 pairs of eyes looking at you. How many people are there in the library? There are 12 people. 22 eyes most likely belong to 11 people, plus you, 12 altogether. Look at these hands. Which one doesn't belong here? It's the hand in the fourth picture. It's the only one which is left. Mark needed to get some documents from his colleague's safe. If he didn't, he'd get fired the next day. But it turned out to be a tricky task. The safe had a password, and Eric had no idea how to crack it. It was a combination of letters, OTTFFSS, and the last 3 letters are missing. Can you figure out what they are? The missing letters are ENT. All of them are the first letters of the numbers from 1 to 10. Ms. Nelson, an art teacher at school, had to organize an event, and a big concert was a part of it. But the event had to take place the next day, and she still needed to find one more performer. There were several talented students at her school, and she decided to invite them. But Daniel, who played the guitar very well, told his teacher that he had lent his instrument to a friend and wouldn't get it back anytime soon. Sophia, who was an amazing singer, answered the teacher that she had a sore throat and couldn't sing at all. And Luna, who was a professional dancer, claimed that just a few days before she had sprained her ankle, and the doctor had prohibited her from moving this leg too much. Ms. Nelson was very upset, but could do nothing to change the situation. But when she saw these 3 students at the concert the next day, she found out that one of them had lied to her. Who was it, and how did she understand? Luna had lied to her teacher. If she had sprained her ankle, she wouldn't be able to wear high heels. 3 college friends met after a summer break. Each of them wanted to boast about how cool their vacation was. Lily described how she and her boyfriend had gone to Paris and seen the city from the top of the Eiffel Tower.
Yay!
Dylan told his friends that he had traveled to Africa with his parents. But on their last day, there was a massive volcanic eruption, and it didn't spoil their rest only because they flew back home that day. And Ellie said that she had visited her uncle in Texas and learned to ride a horse. She even participated in some competitions. Of course, all the stories were great, but one of them was fake. Which one was it? Dylan's story was fake. He couldn't fly home on the day of the eruption because when something like this happens, all flights get canceled. A man called the police. "My wife, she got in a car accident." When the police arrived, the woman had already been rushed to a hospital. The detectives found out that she had crashed into a tree right next to her house. One of the police officers examined her car and saw the woman's bag. Inside, he found her driving license and a car key, some money and bank cards, a notebook, and her passport. After that, the husband was immediately arrested. Why? How could the woman's car key be in her bag if she had been the one driving?
Yeah.
Let's dive right in, shall we? Jane, Emma, and Carla are working out in a gym. One of them isn't being careful enough. Who is it? It's Carla. Look, she's doing exercises while chewing gum. She could accidentally choke on it. Look at Matt and Olivia. They're both cooking dinner. Matt is using a stove, and Olivia is using a grill outside. Which of them is doing something wrong? It's Matt. He forgot to turn the stove on. Noor was a married man, and his wife had a twin sister. One day, the twins decided to trick him. They both pretended to be his wife to see if he'd find the right person. Unfortunately, Noor got way too confused. Can you find his real wife? Look at the wedding picture of Noor and his wife. She has a tattoo on her right arm, so his wife must be the woman on the left who also has a tattoo on her right arm. Willem and Sean were caught by the police close to the graffiti that had just appeared on a building. One of them painted it, but both denied doing anything. Who do you think is lying? It was Willem. Look, there's some paint on her hands and shirt. Drake and Thor are both on vacation. Drake is skiing in the mountains with his girlfriend, and Thor is surfing with his best friend. Look at them now. Which one of them is in danger? Drake, he's screaming in the mountains. It's not safe because it can cause an avalanche. Now, let's find some pet owners. For example, look at these three girls. Can you figure out who the cat belongs to? Its owner is the girl on the right. Look at her legs and hands. She has some scratches, very typical for cat owners. Now, there are three people sitting in the park. See that dog playing there? Who does it belong to? To the guy in the middle. Look, he has a leash. These guys, Ian, Noah, and Luke, are basketball players. They're getting ready for the game in the changing room. Which of them is Noah? It must be this guy, the one who's not wearing shoes. Look, his shoes are in the locker with the name tag Noah. Esme was walking in the forest and got lost. She'd been wandering for hours until she came across a witch's house. The witch was busy with a new spell and had a riddle for Esme. If the girl managed to solve it, the witch would let her go. If Esme failed, she'd have to stay with the witch forever. So the witch had 6 test tubes. The first 3 were empty, and the last 3 were full. For the spell, full and empty tubes had to alternate. Esme had to solve this problem, but she could only touch one tube. How can she do it? Esme should take the 5th tube and pour the liquid from it into the second one. A bank was robbed on a Friday evening. There were no customers and no signs of a break-in, which meant it was one of the bank employees. The robbery was discovered by the bank director, Mr. Perry. There were 3 main suspects, Miss Cott, Mr. Mendez, and Miss Morgan. All of them denied being anywhere close to the safe, but one of them lied. Who was it? Pay attention to the footprints. These must belong to Mr. Perry, but there's another pair which must be heels. Mr. Mendez is wearing sneakers and Miss Morgan is wearing flats. Miss Cott is the only one wearing heels. The footprints are likely to be hers, so she lied. Mrs. Nichols has 4 daughters and a son. The oldest daughter's name is April. She's an artist. The second daughter is December. She's into sports. Her third daughter is August, and she's keen on cooking. May is the 4th one, and she likes reading. Their brother Adam is the youngest in the family. How is his name connected to his sisters? The first letters of the girls' names make up the name Adam. Another family riddle for you. Ava is Bella's sister, Bella is Ella's sister, and Ella is Ruby's mother. Who is Ruby for Ava? If Ava is Bella's sister and Bella is Ella's sister, it seems like the 3 of them are sisters. Since Ruby is Ella's daughter, then both Ava and Bella are Ruby's aunts. So Ruby is Ava's niece. Take a look at these friends at the beach. Which of them is a robot? It must be this girl. Look, it's very hot outside and everyone is sweating, except her. That's kind of odd. The police also broke into 3 apartments. In one of them, a robot lives. Can you guess where? Look, there's a lot of machine oil in the bathroom. I'll bet it belongs to the robot. What about this photo? Can you spot a robot here? It's summer, and everyone is wearing shorts and tops, except for this guy. He's wearing long pants, a long-sleeve shirt, and even gloves. He must be hiding his body. I'd say it's him. Here's a photo of people sitting in a cafe. Can you spot a robot here? It must be this lady, since she's not drinking or eating anything. Guess why? Well, robots can't eat human food, obviously. Another peek into some people's houses. One room belongs to a robot, but which one? It must be this one. Look, there's a whole bunch of bolts and spare parts in the wardrobe. Have a look at this group of friends. Can you tell which of them is a robot? It must be this guy. There's some steam and sparks coming from it. Perhaps it's a robot that needs some renovations. Aiko has won a game show, and she can finally get her prize. But there's a catch, one last task. There are 3 boxes, and she can pick one to take with her. One box is filled with $100 bills, another box contains 5-cent coins, and the last box has both bills and coins. The boxes look exactly the same, and the girl can't touch any of them. The boxes have labels: bills on the left one, coins in the middle one, and bills and coins on the right one. All the boxes are labeled wrong. Aiko can't look inside any of the boxes, but she can ask for one sample from any box. What should Aiko's strategy be to identify the box filled with bills only? Since all the boxes are labeled wrong, Aiko should ask for a sample from the bills and coins box. If there's a bill there, then that's the one she needs. She should simply take it. If there's a coin, then it's the box with coins. In that case, the remaining boxes contain bills and bills with coins. And since the labels are incorrect, the one with bills is the one marked with the label coins. The day that is tomorrow for the day after tomorrow is as far away from Wednesday as the day that is yesterday for the day before yesterday. So, what day is it today? The tomorrow for the day after tomorrow and the yesterday for the day before yesterday are exactly 3 days away from today. If they're equally far away from Wednesday, then today is Wednesday. Meadow loved animals and she decided to get some frogs. She talked to her mom about it and they made a decision. Only one of these 3 statements is correct. 1. Meadow got at least 1 frog. 2. Meadow got at least 5 frogs. 3. Meadow got fewer than 5 frogs. How many frogs did Meadow get? So, only one statement is correct. If it's the first one, then the other 2 must be wrong. In this case, she can't get 5 or more frogs, so it doesn't work. If the second statement is correct, then she has at least 5 frogs, but then the first statement is automatically correct too. Let's say the third statement is correct, so she got fewer than 5 frogs. Automatically, the second statement is wrong, but for the first statement to be wrong too, she should have got fewer than 1 frog. So it seems that, after talking to her mom, Meadow got 0 frogs. Maybe instead, her mom got her a dog, which would at least rhyme. Megan here is a popular blogger from New York.
Hello.
Today, she's meeting her bestie, Rosie, in her favorite cafe.
Hello.
They're both on a diet, so they only order herbal tea and a piece of chocolate cheesecake to share. Megan and Rosie have a great time together and post some food pictures. But an hour later, Rosie faints. Doctors reveal that she was poisoned. Let's take a look at Megan's post. Can you figure out where the poison was? Rosie put sugar in her tea, and Megan didn't, so the poison was in the sugar packet. After taking care of Rosie, Megan's finally headed home. The door in her apartment building has a combination lock, and someone has recently changed the 4-digit password. Luckily, Megan finds a hint nearby. Can you help her figure out the new code? Multiply the first and last number. Then multiply the second and the third number. and the code is 2516. Megan goes up to her apartment. There's a stunning sunset going on out the window. She takes 2 pictures for her Instagram. Can you find 5 differences between them? Ready to see the differences? Here they are. Megan decides to eat some snacks and watch the videos of her favorite bloggers. One of these 2 ladies is a millionaire, while the other one is broke.
Oh.
Can you guess who is who? The second lady is broke. Can you see the Eiffel Tower and Big Ben in the background? She can't be in Paris and in London at the same time, can she? So her photo is fake, as well as her fancy lifestyle. Megan gets some cheesy comments from one of her subscribers,
What?
Evil Eye. But she doesn't take it seriously. She spends a great night with her friends. Late at night, Megan is walking back home alone. Suddenly, Evil Eye appears right in front of her. He grabs Megan and puts her into the trunk of his car. Megan faints. After a while, she wakes up in a basement and sees her fan drawing some sort of a flower on the floor. He says, 2 letters are missing here. Guess which ones and I'll set you free. If you don't, you'll stay here forever. Can you help Megan out? The missing letters are M and E. Megan returns home and discovers that someone has stolen her laptop. Well, this just isn't her day, is it? She calls the police, and they interrogate 3 neighbors. Holly says, I was cleaning my apartment with loud music playing, so I didn't hear anything suspicious. Paul said, I was walking my dog for the last 2 hours. We just returned home. Everything looked as usual. And Alex said, I spent the whole day at home. I only went out once, about an hour ago, to take out my trash. I noticed a strange guy in a hoodie at your door, but he left very quickly. Who's lying? Alex. He said he had taken out the trash, but take a look at his trash can. It's still full. The next day, Megan gets good news from the police. They caught Evil Eye, and he's in jail now.
Oh, yes.
He insists that the officer should give this note to Megan, but she has no clue what this means. What about you? Ready to see the solution? The note literally says, jailbreak at 11 a.m. Yay! Megan's favorite blogger has just posted a What I Ate in a Day video.
Oh, yes.
See if you can spot anything odd here. Wow, she keeps a saw in the fridge. Here's the next video. Can you spot any mistakes? Yep, this rainbow is fake. Today is Megan's 30th birthday. She's been preparing for a party for weeks. She bought a beautiful dress, cooked plenty of food, and decorated the apartment. A lot of friends are invited, including Megan's boyfriend, Jeff. Before the event, he calls Megan, saying, I'm in the office right now, but I promise to be at your place at 8 o'clock. Jeff comes home at 8:05. He brings flowers, a birthday cake, and a diamond necklace. But Megan is really mad. She throws the flowers into his face and bursts into tears. Why? Megan was expecting him to arrive at 8 p.m., but he came at 8 a.m. the next morning. In the evening, Megan decides to go buy some ice cream. She walks towards her favorite corner store on the block. Megan meets the owner of this store, Ted, on the street. A masked man has just robbed the store and took all the cash. Megan explores the space and the broken shelves. Then she says, I don't think it was just an ordinary robbery. The thief must be your enemy.
Oh, really?
How did she know? Take a closer look at the floor. The salt packages have been torn. Also, the thief opened the bottles so that the oil would leak out on the floor. Why would an ordinary thief waste time opening the bottles? Therefore, they had an intention to cause as much damage as possible. Megan takes Ted out for coffee to cheer him up. The waiter brings them 2 identical servings. Well, almost identical. Can you spot 3 differences between them? Here they are. Megan gets an invitation to a fancy party for bloggers.
Yes!
Only those who can crack this maze will actually find a way in. Can you help Megan reach the party? She should choose the 3rd route. Megan reaches the final destination. There are 3 doors, all covered with graffiti. Can you help her guess where the party is taking place? Let's take a closer look at the lettering on the doors. If we replace each letter with the previous one in the alphabet, we'll get party, toilet, and exit. Therefore, Megan should enter the first door. Security guards at the party got a report. Several criminals are planning to get in. That's why they scan everyone's bags very carefully. They find 3 suspicious people and arrest them. But one of them is innocent. Can you guess who? The second lady carries too many phones in her bag, a couple of smartphones and one old-fashioned button phone. As for the third guy, why would a bald man need shampoo at a party? It seems only the first lady isn't a criminal. Megan enters the party and goes to the bathroom to refresh her makeup. There, she meets 3 pretty ladies. 2 of them are vampires. Can you tell who's not? This lady who's standing next to Megan is a human because she has a reflection. Therefore, the 2 others are vampires. Megan wants to rent a cozy cabin to spend a weekend in the woods. She's looking through a special app and finds 4 available options, but only one of them is safe enough. Can you help Megan make the right decision? The second house looks pretty cozy, but there's a creepy clown hiding behind the tree. And the price is suspiciously low. According to the info box, the third house was built 9 centuries ago, but it looks pretty modern, so it's probably a scam. The fourth house is chic and high-tech, but the window glass is covered with cracks, which is not safe at all. So Megan should choose the first cabin. Finally, it's the weekend. Megan hits the road to go to the cabin. On the way, she makes a stop to visit the local farmer's market. Megan picks some lemons. She wants to pay, but her phone is gone. She interrogates 3 people standing nearby. Kim says, "I didn't touch your phone. I was too busy selling my tomatoes." Magna says, "I was taking pictures of my shop for social media. See for yourself if you don't believe me." And Bianca says, "I think it was Kim. Her business has not been going well recently." After hearing what they had to say, Megan knows for sure who's the thief. What about you? Check out Magnus's basket with vegetables. He hid Megan's phone among the carrots. Megan orders a beverage at the local coffee shop and looks around. One of the customers is not human. Can you figure out who? The waitress. Her eyes are blinking red. Maybe she didn't get a tip.
Yeah.
Hey, my dear detective, I need your help today. Or rather, not me, but Gemma. She works as a manager at a large supermarket, and one morning, she receives a strange message. "There's a thief among your customers. Beware." Gemma runs out of her office and sees 3 people who look suspicious. Can you help Gemma figure out who the real shoplifter is? It's the guy in the middle. If his arm was really broken, he wouldn't be able to carry that blanket. Mark's boss gave him a task to bring some important documents from his house. But when the guy arrived, he saw that the door was locked. And to get inside, he needed a password. Mark saw a sequence of numbers. 1347118. He needed to figure out the next 4 digits. They would make up the password. Can you help the guy? One and 3 together gives us 4, which is the next number. 3 and 4 are 7. Here it is. 4 plus 7 is 11. Then 7 plus 11 is 18. So the next digits are 2 and 9. 29. Since that's what you get when you add 18 to 11. And 18 plus 29 is 47. So the password is 2947. Detective Lars was chasing a criminal who had robbed a jewelry store. But the criminal managed to hide in a women's clothing store and put on a female outfit. Can you help the officer find the thief among these ladies? This elegant woman on the right is wearing the same sneakers as the criminal did during the robbery. Lauren was an archaeologist exploring ancient pyramids. Once she got lost and found herself locked in a tiny room. The worst thing was that as soon as she got into the room, the door she had entered through got blocked by a rock slide. No one knew where Lauren was. She had to get out of there on her own. The woman saw another door, but it was locked. To open it, she had to solve a riddle and enter the correct 4-digit code. Can you help Lauren figure out the code? Each digit of the code is the number of letters in the alphabet that stand between the letters in the riddle. So, we've got 5, 1, 3, and 9. That's the code Lauren needs to enter. Now let's check how attentive to detail you are. How does this colorful cube look from above? The correct variant is picture number 4. The next task, try to find all the differences between these two pictures. If you found 3 differences, congrats! Even Sherlock Holmes would be jealous of your attention skills. The evening before his girlfriend's birthday, Michael arrived at her office quite late to decorate her desk. He pretended to be a pizza delivery guy to get past the security. But when Michael finished with the decorations, he realized that the building was closed. But the worst thing was that all the guards had already left. If the guy just opened the door, the alarm would go off and the police would arrive right away. Michael found a locker with a few tangled wires inside. One of them turned off the alarm, another was responsible for fire detectors, and the last one turned the cameras off. Which wire should the guy cut? The green one. It'll turn the alarm off. Don't let this riddle baffle you. It's not as difficult as it may seem at first. Take your time, write down some notes, and you'll crack it in no time.
Yeah.
A small town is visited by an ice cream truck every day. On Friday, the truck comes as usual. 5 children, one from each of the first 5 houses on the street, buy different kinds of ice cream. Each of the treats has a different flavor and a completely different topping. Listen attentively to the details and try to figure out which child lives in which house and brought which ice cream flavor with which topping. Jim lives between the child who got raspberry topping and the child who bought mango ice cream. Joyce, whose house has an even number, chose cherry topping. Nancy does not live next to Joyce. Black currant ice cream had no topping. The child who lives in house number 2 bought butterscotch ice cream. The child from house number 3 did not get chocolate ice cream. Mike had banana ice cream, but he doesn't like banana cherry topping. The child who had cashew topping lives in house number 5. Dustin does not live in house number 4. Keep in mind that the odd number houses and the even numbered houses are located on opposite sides of the street. So, here's the answer. Jim lives in house number 3, and he bought blackcurrant ice cream with no topping. Dustin lives in house number 2, and he got butterscotch ice cream with banana cherry topping. Nancy lives in house number 5, and she had mango ice cream with cashew. Joyce lives in house number 4, and he bought chocolate ice cream with cherry topping. Mike lives in house number 1, and he got banana ice cream with raspberry. A long time ago, a king ruled the great kingdom of Trojan House. As part of the renovation of the kingdom to meet new security needs, he asked his chief architect to create a new construction plan. The king's idea was that all of his 10 castles should be connected with 5 straight walls, and each wall must connect 4 castles together. He also told the architect that at least one of the castles should be protected with walls from all sides. The architect could not come up with any solution, but he suggested the best plan he could think of. Here it is. Can you find a better solution? That's the solution the king will like much more. As you see, in this case, not 1 but 2 castles are protected from all sides. 12-year-old Adam knew his older brother Philip, who was 20 years old, got some money for his birthday. But however hard Adam tried, he couldn't find it. One day when Philip was away, the boy sneaked into his brother's room. There was no money, but Adam found a map. His brother had hidden his cash in the garden. Adam followed the instructions to a T. 10 steps to the left, 15 to the right, then 8 straight ahead. It must be here. The boy started to dig. He wasted 2 hours and still found nothing. Did Philip trick his brother? Due to their age and size difference, Adam's steps were smaller than his brother's. That's why he was looking for the money in the wrong place. Jason, a rich traveler, stayed in a small but expensive hotel at the seaside. During a severe storm with gale-force winds, there was a blackout. The whole area was plunged into darkness. People stayed without electricity for at least 2 hours. The problem was finally solved. But Jason discovered that during the blackout, someone had taken his wallet with a lot of cash and his credit cards. The police arrived and questioned the people who had been in the hotel at that time. Justin, the receptionist, told the detective he had been in the basement. He was trying to start an emergency generator. Unfortunately, he didn't succeed. Nicole, another guest, said she had arrived an hour before the blackout. She was exhausted. She lit several candles, unpacked, cleaned herself, and went to bed. Gregory, the hotel driver, said he'd been at the airport. A new guest had arrived and he went to pick them up. The police immediately figured out who was lying. Can you? The blackout was caused by a bad storm, and planes don't fly in such windy conditions. Then how could someone arrive by airplane? Gregory lied. Look at this picture attentively and try to figure out what's wrong here. That elderly lady is watering her plant with milk.
There are 3 labeled wooden baskets. On one of them it's written lemons. Another one says pineapples. And the remaining one claims that it has both lemons and pineapples. All the labels are placed incorrectly. You reach into one basket and pull out one fruit. Will you be able to correct all the labels after doing it? Yes. Since the baskets are mislabeled, you know for sure that in the lemons and pineapples basket, you'll find just one type of fruit. So you opt to pick a fruit from that basket. If it's a lemon, this is the lemon basket. And since the pineapple basket is also mislabeled, it must contain lemons and pineapples. Then the remaining basket contains pineapples. The same logic applies if you pull a pineapple out of the lemons and pineapples basket. Can you find a mistake in this picture? Be very attentive. The dog is leaving paw prints of only 2 paws. How about this picture? What's wrong here? This guy is using the wrong tool. To cut this tree, he should be using an axe. Have a look at these girls. They all look perfectly normal, but one of them has recently robbed a bank. Can you figure out which one it is? Pay attention to even the tiniest details. It's the girl on the left. Look, she has lots of different passports on the bed behind her back. She's probably going to escape the country using a fake ID. Look at these nurses and try to figure out which one is fake. The first 2 nurses seem to have the correct pictures on their name tags. But the third nurse has the same picture as the second one, and she doesn't look like the person in the photo, so she is the imposter. Now, put your detective hat on and say which of these men stole the phones. The first 2 men have the phones they're selling on display. They don't hide them. And they also look very confident and proud of their business. The man on the right, though, is hiding the phones behind his basket. He also looks nervous. Look at these men carefully. Who is the baby's father? Based on the baby's hair color and his beauty mark, the man in the middle is most likely his father. Your next task is to figure out which of these people stole the petrol. The woman in the middle is the culprit.
Oh no!
Can you see petrol stains on her clothes? Look at this picture intently and try to figure out which dish could have caused food poisoning. Most probably, it was the combination of the drink and the burger. It doesn't look as if the guy even touched the pizza or the fries. James came to visit his friend Ethan. The guys were watching TV and eating pizza when James' phone rang. It was a sales assistant from his store who claimed there was a problem with one of their customers. James had to leave for a while. Soon after his departure, Ethan felt unwell and lost consciousness. When James returned, he saw that Ethan was lying on the floor and the apartment was in a mess. Ethan luckily came to his senses before the police arrived. He told the officer that the robbers had stolen all his money and electronics. The only question the detective asked him was if Ethan touched anything on the table after James had left. When he heard the negative answer, he immediately arrested James. Can you figure out why? There are ice cubes in the glasses on the table. If those were the same drinks the friends had been drinking before James left, the ice would have melted long ago. It means that James put something in Ethan's glass to knock him out, took all the money and valuables, and replaced the drinks with fresh ones before the police arrived. Luke had an older brother who was always teasing him, mentioning their age gap. When Luke finally went to school, he hoped that his brother wouldn't call him little anymore. But when the boy returned home after his first day of school, his brother started again. Primary school is for babies. Everything you learn is so easy. Then Luke decided to teach his brother a lesson. Okay, then how about you solve a riddle our teacher gave us today? Luke's brother agreed without hesitation. If you take away half of this number, you'll get nothing. What is this number? Even after thinking for a while, Luke's brother didn't manage to solve the riddle. Can you? This number is 8. Take away its top part and you'll get 0. Littlefield was a tiny village where people didn't even get fines for illegal parking. But one day, something terrible happened in this quiet place. Mr. Richardson, a rich farmer, arrived at the police station saying that 2 of his best cows were missing. There were 3 suspects, and each of them had to answer just one question. Have you taken your neighbor's animals? Mr. Anderson said that he had nothing to do with it because he and Mr. Richardson had a common business, and he wouldn't risk their cooperation. Mrs. Martinez stated that she had been living in this village since birth, and she wouldn't spoil her reputation because of some animals. And Mr. Jones explained that since his family had been breeding pigs for centuries, he didn't have any reasons to steal cows. The police officer managed to figure out who the criminal was. Have you realized it too? The thief is Mr. Jones. How did he know it was cows that were stolen? Nobody had told him what species it was. Detective Scratch was called to investigate a case. A rich lady had disappeared right from her home and no one could find her. The detective had a list of suspects with the following names: Rooney, Messi, David, Chris, and Amanda. But apparently, the criminal was a fan of Detective Scratch, so they decided to attract his attention by leaving notes in different locations. Note number 1 was in the drawing room. The second note was in the art room. Note number 3 was in the vault. The fourth note was in the ice cream room. Yes, that lady was that rich. And note number 5 was in the dining room. All the notes had the same message. The clues you're looking for are where you find the notes. Detective Scratch didn't need much time to figure out what it all meant. How fast can you do the same? The person behind the disappearance of the rich lady was David. You just need to take the first letters of the rooms where the notes were found. D-A-V-I-D. A precious gold figurine disappeared from Mr. Brown's mansion. He invited a private detective, since he suspected one of his relatives was the thief. Each of the suspects gave one statement, but only 3 of these statements were correct. Can you figure out who the thief is if the statements are the following? Uncle Jack. Uncle Jim stole the figurine. Aunt Mary. I didn't do it. Cousin Stuart. It wasn't Cousin Margaret. Uncle Jim. Uncle Jack is lying when he says I did it. Cousin Margaret. Aunt Mary is telling the truth. Cousin Mary is the thief.
Oh no!
And the statements of Aunt Mary, Uncle Jim, and Cousin Margaret are true. Eric was locked in a room with 19 other people. Each of them could see the entire room and all the people inside without turning their heads or bodies or moving in any other way. To get out of the room, Eric had to place an apple in such a way that everyone but one person could see it. The guy managed to do it. Can you figure out how he did it? He put the apple on someone's head. Clever. Can you spot the odd emoji in this image? Yep, it's this unfriendly-looking one. It's not smiling like the others.
Look at the photo. It seems like Adrian is in danger, and he can't even see what's about to happen. But lucky him, he survived, and just 2 minutes later, he was eating cotton candy. How is it possible? Adrian is at a zoological museum. Look closely. The tiger is behind thick glass, and it's not even moving at all. It's just a statue, so it was completely safe for Adrian to stand there. The police were chasing a criminal who had just robbed a little store in a city suburb. They'd been chasing his car for a while, but then the vehicle took an unexpected turn and won some time. The police followed it and a minute later arrived at a gas station. But there were 2 identical cars there. Which one of them is the criminal's car? It's this one. Look, the gas tank is on the opposite side, so the car is here not to get filled up, but to blend in. Max, a cute dog, was staying in a dog hotel while his family was on vacation in Greece. 2 weeks later, 3 men came to pick him up, all claiming to be his owner. Who do you think the real owner is? It must be this man. Look, he has Max's name tattooed on his arm. Look at this picture of people in a movie theater. Most of them are couples, but 2 visitors are twins, a brother and a sister. Can you tell which couple it is? It must be these 2. Look, they have similar white strands in their hair. It'd be too much of a coincidence for a couple. Mr. York was pushed out of a plane by his business competitor while no one was looking. Mr. York got some injuries but survived. How is it possible? Think outside the box to get it right. When it happened, the plane was still on the runway. Okay, let's have a little break now. I'll be showing you an emoji, and your task is to find the one that doesn't belong to the group. Ready? Here's the first one. What do you say? I'd say that this one doesn't belong here. All the others are blue. Okay, here's another set for you. Will you manage to find the one that doesn't belong here? All of them except for this one are sports equipment. Any ideas here? Yes, they're all summer related, but this one doesn't really fit in. And the last set for you. Will you manage to find the odd one? These are all real everyday objects, but this one is magical, so it's the odd one out. Belle and Chloe are twins. One year, Belle had her birthday on Friday.
Oh, yes.
Chloe celebrated her birthday 2 days later on Sunday. The guests who came to both parties didn't believe that twins could have birthdays 2 days apart, but the girls showed their IDs and explained everything. So, how is it possible? The twins were born at night. Belle was born right before midnight on February 28th, and Chloe was born right after midnight on March 1st. This year was a leap year, and February 29th came in between these dates. Inoni lives on a farm where she has horses, rabbits, and chickens. Here's what she says about her horses.
All of my horses except for 2 are black. Also, all of them except for 2 are brown. And all of them except for 2 are white.
How many horses does Inoni have, and what color are they? She has just 3 horses, 1 black, 1 brown, and 1 white. There was a diversity week at school, and one of the students was robbed. Detective Callum interrogated 3 main suspects. Eliza said she'd been working in the cafeteria the whole time. Asher pointed at one of the flags and said he'd been fixing it since it had been hanging upside down. Naya said that the student who had been robbed was her best friend, so she never would have done that. Who's guilty? Asher. The flag that was supposed to be hanging upside down is actually symmetrical. On a rainy day in the summer, a house in a small neighborhood was robbed while the owners were away. The police came to interrogate 4 neighbors. Everyone said that it had been raining. They'd been at home all day, eating and watching movies. Take a look at the houses. Who is lying? Reed is lying. Look, the ground under his car is wet, which means he arrived after it had started raining. So, he did leave his house. Miss Virginia Dell was a rich gentleman's daughter. She was staying at her hotel room when a security guard called her. He told her to run away since the criminal was going up to her room.
What?
Miss Dell ran to the elevators, but in each of them, there was a man. Which elevator is safe for her to use? The criminal obviously came from the first floor, and since this man is going down, it must be safe to go with him.
Really?
Dakota woke up in a dungeon. She couldn't remember what had happened. After wandering around for a while, she found out it was a vampire's castle guarded by the creature himself. Also, she found 3 chests. One of them was full of gold coins. Another was filled with silver coins. And the third chest was full of diamonds. Dakota could take any chest with her, but she wouldn't be able to get past the vampire anyways. What should the girl do? Dakota should take the chest with silver coins. Vampires are afraid of silver, so she'll be able to walk past him. Emilia is participating in a game show, and here is her last task. If she completes it, she'll win. She has cubes with these numbers. She should use 3 of them so that the sum total is equal to 30. Which ones should Amelia use? She should turn the cube with 9 over to get 6, and then use it along with 11 and 13. Sienna must leave the house in exactly 9 minutes. The power is off and her cell phone battery is flat. Sienna has 2 hourglasses. One measures 7 minutes and the other measures 4 minutes. How can she use them to measure exactly 9 minutes? Sienna should start both hourglasses at the same time. When the 4-minute hourglass runs out, she should start it again. 4 minutes will pass. When the 7 minutes hourglass runs out a bit later, she should start it again. It'll be 7 minutes. The 4-minute hourglass will run for 1 more minute together with the 7-minute one. When it runs out of sand, it'll be 8 minutes. Sienna should then flip over the 7-minute hourglass. It'll have sand in its top part for exactly 1 minute. Now, I'll be showing you some images, and your task is to find out what's wrong with them. Ready? Here's the first one. What do you think? This car has no steering wheel. Easy. What about this picture? Can you notice anything odd about it? The reflection in the mirror is different from reality. What about this picture? What's really off here? These people are playing soccer, but they're playing it with a basketball. What about this picture? Do you see any mistakes here? People are in open space, but they're not wearing spacesuits. They wouldn't be able to breathe without them. Some people went on a hot air balloon trip. Can you see what's wrong here? This is definitely not a hot air balloon. Take a very close look at this picture and try to find a mistake. Can you see it? Look, the door hinges are on the wrong side of the door. Look, it's very pretty, but something is off. Can you figure out what? Pay attention to the rainbow. The color arrangement is incorrect. What about this winter paradise? Do you see anything that doesn't belong here? The butterflies. There's no butterflies in the winter. Next one. This cool space picture. Do you see what's wrong with it? The astronauts are wearing spacesuits and they're on the surface of the moon. But look, there's another moon in the sky. It's not possible and they should observe Earth instead. Can you notice any inconsistencies here? The label on the carton says that it's almond milk, but then why is a cow pictured on it too?
Becky attended her high school reunion last weekend.
Hello.
All of her friends seem to be doing really well in life. Connor showed up wearing clothes from expensive brands.
Hello.
Matilda had not just one, but 2 of the latest smartphones.
Oh.
Tom showed up in a fancy sports car, and Beth was wearing a luxurious watch on her wrist. Take a good look at Becky's friends. Can you tell who is really rich? Well, let's see. If you look closely, Connor didn't take off the tags from his clothes. This probably means that he's planning on returning them after the reunion.
Yeah.
Matilda's phones are fake. Look at the label. It's just a copy of the original brand.
Ah.
And Beth's watch is way bigger than her wrist. which means that the watch is not really hers. So, Tom is probably the richest person at the reunion.
Oh, yeah.
Amy's favorite band is in town, and she really wants to go to their concert. She asks her stepmother if she can go, but she says she will only allow Amy to go if she does a series of things for her.
Oh.
The first thing the stepmother asks is for Amy to bring her some water in a colander. To get this right, Amy needs to think outside the box.
Okay.
Can you help Amy figure out how she can do that? Amy needs to freeze some water and put the cubes in the colander.
Yeah.
Technically, frozen water is still water, right? Next, her stepmother asks Amy to pick out the perfect evening dress for her. Amy walks into her stepmother's closet, and there are 3 dresses, a red, a green, and a blue. Take a look at the picture. Which dress should Amy choose? If you look closely, the button on the blue dress is about to come off. The green dress has a big paint stain on it, so Amy should pick the red dress.
Yes!
Before Amy can take the dress to her stepmother, the woman enters the room. She sees the stain on the dress and starts to shout at Amy, "How could you do this to my dress?" But Amy says she didn't do anything wrong, and that the paint was already there when she walked into the closet.
Yes!
The stepmother asks Amy to find the culprit.
Oh.
If she could figure out who had stained her dress, then Amy could go to the concert.
Okay.
The 3 main suspects are Amy's stepsisters, Ella, Bella, and Gabriella.
What?
They don't like Amy, so it's likely that one of them splashed paint on their mother's dress in order to frame her. When the stepsisters are out of the house, Amy sneaks into their bedroom to try to find the culprit. Take a look at the room. The first bed belongs to Ella, the second belongs to Bella, and the third bed belongs to Gabriella. Can you tell who did it? It was Gabriella. Her bed is the third one on the left. And if you look closely, it has a bucket of paint under it. Emily and Barbara are getting ready for a girls' night out.
Yes!
They are putting on makeup and getting their hair done. They have pretty similar tastes, and their things look pretty much the same. But one of them has more money than the other.
Oh.
Looking at the image, can you tell which one has the more expensive stuff? Take a look at Barbara. Her dress kind of gives it away since it's obviously a knockoff. So Emily is the one with the more expensive stuff. Harry decided to backpack around the world on his own.
Yeah!
On the plane, he sat next to a girl. He asked her where she was from.
Yes.
But instead of answering, she showed him 2 emojis on her cell phone.
Oh!
Take a look at the image. Can you tell which country the girl is from? Let's see. That's an iron and a piece of land. I guess she's from Ireland? As soon as Harry landed in Paris, he went strolling along the streets to find a place to stay. He found a cute little hotel and decided to go inside. Big mistake. Why? Take a look at the window on the last floor. It looks like there's a ghost. Yikes. I'd look for another place to stay if I were him. After he found a better hotel to stay in, he decided to get lunch. He ordered the classic French onion soup. But when his dish came, it was filled with cockroaches. He called the restaurant's manager to tell them about the incident. The manager said, "This is unacceptable. I will find the person who did this and fire them immediately." There were 3 suspects. The cook said that he had prepared the soup as usual. It was okay when he passed it to the waiter. The waiter said that he hadn't touched the soup. He just served it to Harry and hurried to take the order from another table. The manager also questioned the cleaner, who said that he had spent the last hours cleaning the bathroom and had no idea what the fuss was about. Can you tell who is guilty? No one. Look at the ventilation system. It's full of roaches. They must have crawled out of it and fallen into Harry's soup. Yikes. There are 3 passengers in the business class of an international flight that is headed towards Rome. Take a look at these three people. The first lady looks pretty well dressed. She's wearing a luxurious designer handbag and is texting on her expensive phone.
Hello.
The guy in the middle is working with stock charts on his laptop, and the third guy is enjoying a cup of coffee while reading an article in the Financial Times. Can you tell which one is the real billionaire? Let's see. The woman may look well dressed, but if you see the tag on her clothes, it says 100% polyester. It's unlikely that a billionaire would wear something like this. The guy working with stock charts is wearing old, ripped shoes. I doubt that's a fashion choice, so he's probably not a billionaire. Oh. That leaves us the last guy. If you look closely, the article he is reading is about him. The title of the article is The World's Newest Billionaire. Oh, yeah. I guess we found our guy, huh? Detective Smith was called to investigate a burglary at the city's museum. Oh. A priceless diamond disappeared, and the thief left no trace behind. After analyzing the museum's security cameras, Detective Smith gathered 3 suspects: the security guard, the museum's curator, and a visitor. The security guard said he only left his post during lunchtime, and he could swear that the diamond still wasn't missing at that time. The museum curator spent the day guiding a tour of the museum for a foreign group. They came to see the diamond at the beginning of the tour, and it was still shining bright in its place. The visitor said he only popped in for a quick visit and didn't even pass through the Metzi aisle where the diamond was kept. After these 3 interviews, Detective Smith found the thief. Can you tell who it was? It was the visitor. First of all, he knew the exact location of the diamond inside the museum. Plus, take a look at that string he's fiddling with in his left hand. Detective Smith pulled it from under his sleeve and voila, the diamond was attached to it. I guess he didn't have time to go home and get rid of the diamond, huh? Julie and her friends decided to spend the weekend at a cabin in the woods. They arrived on Friday evening and spent the night playing board games and telling spooky stories. When they woke up on Saturday morning, they found that someone had stolen all their food supply. The door's glass was shattered, but other than that, there were no signs of who could have done it. So the group decided to search the surrounding woods to see if they could find the culprit. Take a good look at the scene the group stumbled upon and see if you can find out who took their food. What's that at the left corner? Those look like bear footprints, huh? And not just one, but rather an entire family of bears. Oh, and they even left an Oreo wrapper on the ground as evidence. Yep, these grizzlies were the culprits for sure. Atlas woke up in the attic of an abandoned house. He tried to find a way out of the house, but all he could find was a room with 3 doors. Each door hid a different danger. The windows and floor behind the first door were made entirely of magnifying glass, which meant that the sunlight would probably burn him if he entered. The second door hid a room full of poisonous gas, and behind the third door was a hungry lion. What should Atlas do to escape? He should wait until it's nighttime and use the first door. Sydney told her mom that her gymnastics team would go to a sports camp for the weekend. She asked her mom to help her pack a bag for the trip. Her mother packed everything she thought her daughter would need. When Sydney came back from the weekend, she was telling her mother all about the trip. But somewhere during the conversation, she asked her mother why she hadn't packed a toothbrush. The mother immediately knew Sydney was lying about where she had really been that weekend. How? Because Sydney's mother did pack a toothbrush, but she put it under Sydney's gymnastics clothes. If Sydney had really gone camping, she would have used the clothes and found the toothbrush. Kimberly discovered 3 bags in an old attic along with a note. The note said that there were $1 million inside one of the bags. It also said that the 2 other bags were empty. She only had one chance to figure out which bag had the cash, and she could trust that one of the messages written on the bags was true. On the first bag, it said, "The cash is not here." On the second bag, it was written, "The cash is not here." The last bag read, "The cash is in the second bag." If you were Kimberly, which bag would you choose? You should choose the first bag. If only one of the clues is true, then the money is in the first bag. The police have been after Mr. Burke for many years, trying to prove he's involved in illicit activities, but they never managed to catch him. One day, Detective Lawrence decided to make a surprise visit to Mr. Burke's office. As soon as the detective arrived, Mr. Burke's secretary said he was away on a business trip. The detective asked to see Mr. Burke's office and took a picture of it, but he wasn't allowed to touch anything without a warrant. So, Detective Lawrence went back to the station and got a warrant. When he returned to Mr. Burke's office, he noticed someone had been in there. Take a look at both pictures and try to find out what Detective Lawrence saw. The desk lamp is tilted and the books are in different places. Someone definitely was in that room. Detective Lawrence decided to search Mr. Burke's entire office. In one room, he found there were footprints up until the middle of the room, and then they disappeared. The only window of the room was open. "Oh no!" Detective Lawrence shouted. "I can't believe he escaped again." He took a picture of the room and took it to the police station. At the station, he showed the picture to the other detectives, and one of them said he had cracked the case. Take a look at the picture. How did the detective solve the case? The detective understood that Mr. Burke was a shapeshifter. This explains why the footprints didn't reach the window. Plus, look at all the bird food on the floor. He probably shapeshifted into a bird and escaped. In Middleton High School, a teacher decided to play a game with students. She wrote a riddle on the board, and the first student that got the answer correctly would win a big prize. The riddle she wrote went like this: I am clean when I'm empty, and I'm dirty when I'm full. What am I? Barbara immediately knew the answer to this one and won the prize.
Yeah.
Can you guess what she answered? It's a chalkboard. The answer was right in front of her all along. Gabriel is an experienced trekker. He went for a 3-day trek in the beautiful forests of Spain when he was captured by a mythical creature. The creature took him to a hidden realm and took away his backpack and all his belongings. After he took everything he needed, he left Gabriel in a dark cave all by himself. To leave the cave, Gabriel was supposed to choose one of 3 tunnels. The first tunnel had thousands of pointy crystals that could hurt him if he stepped on them. The second tunnel was filled with shadowy creatures that were eager for some of Gabriel's vitality. And the last tunnel had the belongings of an ancient wizard, his cape and some of his potions lying around. Which tunnel should he choose? I'd say the last one, right? Since it only has the wizard's belongings, the wizard himself is nowhere to be seen. Oh no, the third tunnel was a trap after all. It took Gabriel to the wizard's tower. When he walked into the tower's only room, he got locked inside it. And to make things worse, when he looked down, he saw that the tower was on fire. The room had no doors, and only a small window. Thankfully, he found there were 3 magic potions that could help him escape. Yes! The first potion had the power of giving him incredible physical strength. With the second potion, he could summon any animal he wanted to help him. And the last potion would turn into a vampire. Which potion should Gabriel choose? Well, no animal could help him escape the tower, and even if he had all the strength in the world, he wouldn't be able to beat the fire. But if he turned into a vampire, then he could transition into a bat and fly away through the little window. So the third bottle it is. Maya was exploring the realms when she opened a door that took her to Rainbowland. This world was filled with flying unicorns and colorful fairies. But they were mischievous creatures that liked playing pranks with outsiders. So, they held Maya hostage until she could figure out the answer to their riddle. They asked her, I'm a color you can eat. What am I? Can you help Maya figure out the answer to this riddle? It's an orange. Way to go, Maya. But the fairy people were in the mood for playing more games, so they continued with their riddles. They asked Maya, "I make two people out of one. What am I?" Maya had to think for a while to answer this one, but she got it correctly.
Yes!
What did she answer? It's a mirror! Taylor was walking through the streets of New York City when she tripped over something, fell down, and hurt her head. When she woke up, she was at the hospital with doctors asking her a bunch of questions to see if she was all right. The funny doctor, who is known for his riddles, asked her, "What has a head, a tail, is brown, and has no legs? Can you help Taylor out here?" It's a penny. You can see how this riddle is misleading, but hey, you got it right. 3 people decided to spend their vacations in Antarctica. Bianca had some trouble with the harsh weather, but felt it was worth it in the end. Pablo had a great time photographing the penguins for his social media page, and Helena got to do some fishing while she was there. On the last day of their trip, passing through airport security, one of them got caught trying to take a penguin with them in their backpack. Take a look at the picture. Can you tell who it was? Let's see what we have here. Well, is that a penguin's feet poking out of Helena's backpack? It sure is. Guess she did more than just fishing during her vacation. Kailani was swimming in a dark underwater cave when she found a gold lamp. She rubbed the lamp, and a powerful merman came out of it. The merman told her he would grant her heart's truest wish and asked her what it would be. The young mermaid was confused about what to wish for, so she went to ask her family what they wanted most. Her father said he wanted to be king. Her mother said she wanted to have a pet shark, and her brother said he wanted to marry the love of his life. The powerful merman granted Kalani one wish, but all of her family members got what they wanted. Can you guess what Kalani wished for? Kailani wished that her father, the king, attended her brother's wedding to the love of his life, and that her mother's pet shark be the one that carried the rings down the aisle. Smart girl.
Yes!
Bob was blindfolded and put into a shaky van. When he woke up, he was alone in a dark, empty room. There was nobody there, but there were 3 envelopes on the floor. A post-it on top of the envelope said, "Each envelope contains a red capsule and 2 statements. In one of these envelopes, both statements are false. In another envelope, both statements are true. You have to choose the correct capsule to get out of this alive." He opened the first envelope, saw a capsule and the messages. 1. Don't take this pill. 2. Take the pill from the second envelope. On the second envelope, the note said, 1. Don't take the pill from the first envelope. 2. Take the pill from the third envelope. And the last envelope said, 1. Don't take this pill. 2. Take the pill from the first envelope. Which capsule should Bob take? He should trust the pill from the third envelope. Let's see why. The first message of the first envelope is true, while the second is false. Both messages from the second envelope are true. This leaves us with 2 false statements on the third envelope. It's the finale of the Big Money Buzz show, and Natalie is faced with a difficult task. There are 3 fish bowls, each one of them containing a different amount of gold bars inside. If she manages to put her hand inside one of the bowls and take it out, she can keep the gold bar. The first bowl has scalding hot water inside of it. The second is filled with flesh-burning acid. And the last bowl has a couple of venomous scorpions walking around. Which bowl should she choose? Natalie should just wait until the water cools down and grab the gold bar from the first bowl.
Yes!
Nova wanted to be part of the Binary Bandits. They were an elite cybersecurity group that protected the internet world from hackers. She sent several emails to the group's members, but she was completely ignored. Until one day, she got an encrypted message with a mysterious riddle. It said that if she could answer this riddle, she would be interviewed by a member of the bandits and get a chance to be part of the group. The message said, "Invisible I am, but through circuits I flow. Harness my power and watch your knowledge grow. A key to the future, a virtual seed. Decipher my code and all secrets you'll heed. What am I?" Nova's answer was a 4-letter word, and she got it right. Can you guess what she answered? She answered, "Data." That seemed obvious, huh?
Nellie is approaching a picturesque field. She's carrying a package. If she doesn't manage to open it before reaching the field, she won't survive. Can you guess what's in the package? Nellie is skydiving. There's a parachute in her package. After a safe landing, Nellie decides to take a walk in a sunflower field. Can you help her spot 3 odd things about this area? This straw man is winking. This sunflower has teeth. And there are 2 suns in the sky. Nellie walks too far and gets lost in the woods. She wanders around for a while and meets 4 guys sitting on one big tree. Can you help her rank them in order of foolishness? The 4th person is cutting the branch where he sits. So, he's the silliest. The first person is sitting on the branch that will soon be cut by the 2nd guy. So the first person is the 2nd most foolish. The 2nd person doesn't see that he's about to fall too, so he's the 3rd. And finally, the 3rd guy. He's a bad person, but definitely not a stupid one. Nellie moves on and finds a highway. 3 people offer to give her a ride to the nearest town. Can you help Nellie choose the safest driver? Take a look at this guy's car. Its tires are flat, and there's a puddle of engine oil spilled out of the car. Probably not the safest choice.
Oh.
This beautiful lady and her car are both translucent because they're ghosts. As for this gloomy trucker, he looks pretty reliable.
Yeah.
Nellie enters a local coffee shop and meets 2 ladies. Both ladies tell her that they are daughters of a famous billionaire. Can you guess who's lying? The lady on the right is a liar. The logo on her t-shirt is fake. Therefore, she's not rich. Nellie doesn't have any money to buy food. The coffee shop manager feels sorry for her and offers Nellie a free lunch. But first, she has to solve his tricky riddle. Nellie agrees. Here's the task.
People have stepped on me, but not many. I never stay full for long. I have a dark side. What am I?
Can you help Nellie win her free food? The correct answer is the moon. Nellie is eating and looking through the pictures hanging on the wall. Suddenly, she sees something weird. Can you spot any odd details too? This person appears in both pictures, looking young and pretty. But the time distance between these 2 photos is 100 years. Nellie enters a flower shop and sees the owner putting bouquets in big vases. If he puts 1 bouquet per vase, he will end up with 1 extra bouquet. And if he puts 2 bouquets per vase, he will end up with 1 extra vase. How many vases and bouquets does he have? He has 3 vases and 4 bouquets. The flower shop owner offers Nellie a job. He has just received a delivery. There are 3 boxes labeled red roses, white roses, and red and white roses. Each box is labeled incorrectly. Nellie has just 1 chance to pick up a flower from any box and then label the boxes correctly. Can you help her accomplish this task? Nellie should take a flower from the box labeled as red and white roses. Since they're labeled incorrectly, this box should contain either red roses only or white roses only. Let's suppose that Nellie finds the red roses. Now she can label this box correctly. We know that the white box cannot have white roses. Therefore, now Nellie can label the remaining 2 boxes correctly. After earning some cash, Nellie decides to book a room in the local hotel to get some rest. The manager offers her to choose from 3 empty rooms. Can you help Nellie pick the best option? There are cracks in the window glass in the first room. Very unsafe. And there's a zombie hiding under the bed in the 3rd room. So, Nellie should choose the second one. Nellie locks herself in the room. She opens the window and stands nearby, breathing fresh air. Suddenly, she throws something out of the window. Nellie passes out very soon after doing that. That's a mystery because she's perfectly healthy and nobody did anything to her because the door is locked. Can you find any logical explanation for what happened here? Nellie decided to throw a boomerang out of the window. The boomerang went to the maximum distance and returned back straight to her head. After a while, Nellie wakes up with a headache. She goes to the local shop to buy some aspirin. She spots 3 odd things about this place. Can you see them too? There's corn on the shelf along with napkins and toilet paper. The announcement offers an 800% discount. That's too good to be true. And finally, the shopkeeper is wearing 2 pairs of glasses. Suddenly, the shopkeeper begins to yell, "Someone stole my money!" And he locks the customers inside the shop and calls the police. They arrive and question 4 suspects. Maya says,
I came here to buy water for my 12 o'clock yoga class. I'm 20 minutes late because of you.
Bob says, "What's the point of stealing cash? Everyone knows that people use cards nowadays." Lily says,
This shopkeeper is a bad person. He deserved that.
and Nellie replies,
Sorry, I was focusing on my own purchase. I didn't see anything suspicious.
after hearing that the officers had arrested 1 person. Can you guess who? Maya, take a look at the clock on the wall. It's only 10 a.m. She's not late, therefore she's lying. Nellie is walking down the street. She sees a cozy garage sale organized by Miss Green. The fixed price for any item is only $1. Amy buys an old dress. Phil takes this beautiful antique vase, and Vivienne purchases a shabby vintage suitcase. Nellie comes over to Miss Green and says,
Oh,
Madam, you've just sold an expensive thing for a song.
what?
"What does she mean? Can you guess?" Vivian lifts this suitcase quite easily, so it's probably empty. And besides, it has holes in the bottom. Therefore, it can't be precious. This vase isn't antique. It has a sticker from a dollar store. Although this dress is dirty and torn, it has a large, expensive brooch pinned to it, so many gemstones can't cost just $1. Nellie asks Miss Green if she can use her bathroom. Miss Green says,
Sure, it's at the end of the corridor.
Nellie is walking down the corridor and confuses the doors. Nellie ends up in this messy kitchen. The door won't open. Can you help Nellie find a key? It's in the teapot. And Miss Green enters the kitchen and tells Nellie,
I'm a witch, young lady, and I'm gonna give you a gift if you manage to solve my riddle.
Oh, yes.
Nellie agrees. Here's the task.
It starts with T, it ends with T, and it's full of tea. What is it?
Can you solve this mystery? The correct answer is a teapot again. Miss Green brings Nellie to her dusty basement and says,
One of these 3 doors leads to a magical world, and the other 2 are fake. You have only one attempt to choose the correct door. Good luck.
Oh, yeah.
Can you help Nellie out? She should choose the 3rd door. Take a look at the floor. Dusty footprints lead to the 3rd door only, which means that doors 1 and 2 are fake. Nellie opens the 3rd door and enters an enchanted forest. There are 4 ways to cross it, but all 4 passages are pretty dangerous. A hungry dragon is waiting for her on the first route. A massive fire is burning all over the 2nd path. And the 3rd path is basically a windowless tunnel. And the 4th passage is full of scorpions and snakes. Can you help Nellie choose the right path? She should pick the 3rd way. The tunnel doesn't have windows. But who said it doesn't have an exit? Nellie walks the tunnel and finds herself in a beautiful castle. The guard says, "This castle is yours if you manage to crack my riddle. I can fill a room, but I take up no space. What am I?" Can you help Nellie win the castle? The correct answer is light. Hey, how about some tricky riddles that will put your brain to work? Ready? How fast can you solve this one? Grace has 7 sons and each of them has a sister. How many children does Grace have in total? The answer is 8. I bet all the sons have the same sister, so 7 sons plus 1 sister equals 8 children. Stephen's family was away this weekend, but he was found unconscious outside his mansion. Investigators had 3 main suspects. All of them were in the house when it happened. The first person was Maya, but she claimed to be innocent. "I was cleaning the house in the morning and I took a nap in the afternoon," she told the investigators. John, the butler, said, "I was told to check the food inventory in the afternoon." And the last person to be interrogated was James, the driver. He claimed he'd been far away from the house that day.
I was driving the boss's children to a garden party.
Which of these people do you think is guilty? It was James. All family members were away that weekend, so his alibi can't be true. What English word has the same pronunciation even after you take away 2 of its 3 letters? It's B. Phew, that one took some work. Look at these images and try to guess what's wrong. Duh! In the last picture, the woman is trying to eat soup with a fork. Like that would work. On a lazy Sunday afternoon, 7 friends decided to go to the mall. Esme, Evelyn, and Elise grabbed a cup of coffee each, while Ava, Ella, and Emma decided to drink some refreshing soda. Using this logic, can you figure out if Esther chose to drink coffee or soda? Esther is drinking coffee. The secret is in the girl's name. Esme, Evelyn, Elise, and Esther all have 2 letters E in their names, just like the word coffee. There were 4 pairs in the basket and 4 people in the room. Each person took 1 pair. In the end, there was still 1 pair left in the basket. How is that possible? The last person took a pair that was still lying in the basket. Mary's birthday was coming up, and she decided to treat herself to a relaxing day at the spa. During a massage, Mary dozed off. When she woke up, the money she had in her purse was missing.
Oh no!
Mary had 3 suspects. The cashier, Erica, claimed, "I was having lunch in the back." Catherine, the masseuse, said, "I went to the back of the store to get some extra oil." The last person was Monica. She was another customer. She said she hadn't seen anything and had just been waiting for her appointment. Can you tell which one is the culprit? The thief is Catherine. She must have waited for Mary to fall asleep and then took her things. Look at the money hidden behind the oils. Hey, it's time for a hair appointment to trim those split ends. But in this scenario, there are only 2 hairdressers in town who can cut your hair. This guy or this girl. Which one should you choose? The girl, of course. If there are only 2 hairdressers in town, that means they cut each other's hair. And judging by the haircut the guy gave the girl, it looks like he doesn't really know what he's doing. If a rooster lays an egg on top of this cabin, in which direction will it roll? Aha! Roosters don't lay eggs, so it wouldn't roll anywhere. The shopkeeper of an expensive skincare store called the police because someone had robbed his business. He didn't notice the culprit, but according to the security camera footage, there were 3 customers in the store at the time of the robbery. Police officers questioned each of them. Michael said he'd been buying some stuff for his pets. The second suspect, Kayla, was looking for ointments and some aloe vera gel. The last person, Rachel, told the interrogators she'd been busy looking for lotions. Can you tell who's lying? Michael is the culprit. The skincare store doesn't sell pet products. Duh. Peter is a rich man who owns a lot of expensive jewelry. One day, he woke up and noticed that all of it had been stolen.
Uh-oh.
He called a private detective to solve this case. Peter's wife Carla was the first one to be interrogated. "I was showering at the time," she said nervously. Bianca, the housekeeper who'd been working for the family for years, was not in the house. She said, "I was cleaning the garage." The last suspect was Barb, the house chef. "I was making lunch for the family," she told the detective. Can you tell who stole the jewelry? It was Barb, of course. She claimed she was cooking lunch, but the crime happened at night. A man lives on the 80th floor of a high-rise building. On rainy days, he takes the elevator all the way up. But on sunny days, he only takes the elevator halfway to his floor. And then, he takes the stairs the rest of the way. Why does he do this? Well, my friends, it so happens that the man is short. Normally, he can only reach the 40th floor button. But on rainy days, he manages to push the 80th floor button with the help of his umbrella handle. Genius, huh? On a rainy day, Miranda decided to work from home. At one point, she went to the bathroom. But when she got back, she noticed that her cell phone and money had been stolen right in her own house during the day. There were 3 people in the house at the time. Her sister Beth claimed it wasn't her. "I was still asleep at the time because I'd gone to bed late yesterday." Her other sister Anna said she'd been taking a stroll in the garden when it had happened. "I was watching the night-scented orchid bloom." And lastly, there was Josh, Miranda's boyfriend. "I've just got home for lunch," he said. What do you think? Which of these 3 suspects stole Miranda's money and cell phone? Anna is the culprit, of course. Night-scented orchids only bloom at night, so she probably sneaked in and grabbed Miranda's things while the girl was away. A farmer rode into the village on Monday. He stayed in the village for 4 days and rode out on Monday. How is that possible? The farmer's horse is named Monday. I bet you didn't guess this one, did you? Uncle Ben's farm experienced a terrible downpour, and all but 15 pigs were missing and couldn't be found. how many pigs are still in the barn? If you said 15, you got it right. So, there are 3 important rooms in a house. The first one is a library full of rare books. The second room stores piles of money and gold. And the third room has boxes full of expensive jewelry in it. In case of a fire emergency, in which room will the police try to extinguish the fire first? The correct answer is none. Police officers don't fight fire. That's the job of firefighters. Virginia accidentally sent an email to her boyfriend instead of her best friend. She didn't want her partner to see it, so she took his laptop while he was sleeping and tried to delete the message. The laptop required a password to unlock. Luckily, there was a post-it with a hint. History, 3. Music, 5. Book, 2, 3, 1. Yellow, 1. What's the passcode? Each number indicated the letter Virginia had to select in the corresponding word. The third letter in history is S. The fifth letter in music is C. The second, third, and first letters in book are O, O, and B. And the first letter in yellow is Y. The password is Scooby. That's all for today, folks. Hope your brain is good and functioning after all these sharp riddles. See you next time!
Regina and Claire went to a shopping mall on the weekend to buy some clothes. Regina saw an escalator going down with a big banner that said, "Huge sale! Everything 99% off!" Of course, they hurried there. Who wouldn't? But as soon as they headed there, everything faded out. The mall and the part of the escalator behind them vanished. It got all dark, and they had no other option but to go where the escalator would take them. They arrived at a place where they couldn't see anything. Regina yelled for help. Suddenly, 3 signs appeared in front of them. The first one said, "This leads to a sea filled with flesh-eating mutant sharks." The second went, "This leads to a forest with brain-sucking zombie mosquitoes." And the third one said, "This leads to a cave covered with sharp rocks and bats with giant claws." Which one should they choose? Well, bats are harmless until provoked, whether they have small or big claws. So they should choose the third one. And as for the sharp rocks, they just need to watch their steps. They started walking in the direction of the cave when suddenly a peculiar tiny monster cut their way. Welcome to the Underworld, home of all monsters. We hope you enjoy your stay. Even if you don't, you can't ever leave here anyway. And it vanished out of sight. That's when a scary-looking city started to appear around them. What does it mean that we can't leave? Claire asked. There must be someone who can help us, Regina replied. Psst, over here, a creepy monster said from the corner of the street. Crack my riddle and I'll tell you who can help you. What goes around the house and into the house without ever touching the house? It's the sun. So, if you want to see it again, go to the restaurant called Cantina Hella and find the only human there. He might help you. And the monster left. Regina and Claire found it, but a bodyguard stopped them at the entrance. Password? We don't have it, Regina said. The bodyguard handed them a piece of paper with these numbers on it. The number that comes next is the password. Can you figure it out? Every next number is made by moving the first digit of the previous one to the end. So the password is 1793. Regina and Claire walked in. The place was super crowded with human-looking monsters everywhere. It seemed impossible to spot the only real human in there. Can you see him? Well, the others may look human, but if you take a closer look, you can see their tails, fangs, horns, and all that. But this guy here doesn't have any of that, so he must be who they're looking for. Regina and Claire approached the man. His name was Eddie. They told him all about what they'd been through. He said, "I know how you can get back. I do travel to Earth and back here all the time. I'll help you. Meet me here in an hour." Then he gave them his card and left. On it, there was strange writing. Can you decipher it? You need to replace all the letters with the previous letter that comes before them in the alphabet. So it says police station. Regina and Claire got hungry, so they decided to order something to eat. The waiter brought them 3 different desserts. Which one should they choose? Did you notice that the eyes on the first one are actually blinking? I wouldn't eat that. And the teeth inside the second one are real. Well, that's creepy. But the worms inside the third one are just gummy worms. And what looks like dirt is actually chocolate crumble. So they should definitely eat this one. After eating, they headed to the police station to find Eddie. When they arrived, they saw Eddie was really panicked. "I'm a monster hunter, like a detective of the Underworld, and I caught this extremely dangerous monster called Winona. But she escaped from her prison cell. I don't know how." But Claire immediately figured out how she escaped. Can you? Look at the poster on the wall. It's moving slightly. There must be an airflow behind it that is coming from a tunnel. Suddenly, a guardian rushed next to them and said, "Sir, someone claimed they spotted Winona at the gym." Everyone rushed there. The receptionist silently pointed them in the direction of the changing cabins. They saw the feet of 3 different monsters in 3 different changing rooms. One of them was Winona. Can you tell which one? Do you remember what the other prisoners were all wearing? The monster in the third cabin is wearing the same thing, so she must be Winona. Eddie kicked the door of the third cabin, and there she was. Yet Winona looked extremely calm for a monster who was about to go back to jail.
Not so fast,
she said, and created 4 clones of herself. Now there were 5 Winonas in front of them.
I will give you a hint about who the real me is and let you take me back to jail only if you agree to place me in the most luxurious cell.
All the Winonas said at the same time. Eddie had no choice but to accept. The first and fourth clones said that number 5 was the real Winona. The second and the third clones said that number 1 was the real Winona. And the fifth clone said that number 2 was the real Winona. Only one of these statements was true, and the other 4 were lies. So, can you tell which clone is actually the real one? If only one of them told the truth, then neither the first nor the fifth clone could be the real Winona, since that would mean 2 clones told the truth. Nor could the real Winona be the third or the fourth clone, since that would mean no one told the truth. So the only way one of them told the truth is if the second clone is the real Winona. After Eddie placed Winona in her new luxury cell, it was time to help Regina and Claire get back home. He took them to a place called the Hound Tattoo Studio and explained that the only way they could go back home was to get a key-shaped tattoo, which would open a portal to Earth. The tattoo artist showed them his key symbols catalog and said each different key shape opened a portal to another land, and they needed to pick the one that would open a portal to Earth, because if they can't, nobody knows where they travel. Can you help them? Remember, Eddie told them that he travels to the Earth all the time. Then he must have the Earth portal key tattoo as well. Now, let's take a closer look at all his tattoos. Here is the key-shaped one, and this key on the catalog is the same. So it must be the one that will help them go back home. After their tattoos were complete, Eddie activated their magic to send them home. Regina and Claire felt dizzy, as if falling through a rabbit hole. Then, suddenly, they woke up in their bedrooms at home. Wait, none of that was real? How do you think they can tell if this was all a dream or not? Simple. They should just check if they really have tattoos now. Yup, there they are. They definitely didn't have them when they were at the mall. Well, that was weird.
Susan found out that her favorite pop band was playing a private concert for VIP clients in a luxurious club. She decided to sneak inside through the back door. But, unfortunately, Susan came across a strict guard behind the door. He refused to let Susan inside without a password. But, luckily for her, there was a hint on the guard's t-shirt. The hint was 2 infinity plus BD. Susan deciphered the hint and was allowed to enter. Can you guess what the password was? It was to infinity and beyond. After the concert, Susan met up with her friend Bobby. Bobby was an expert in ghost activity. He invited Susan to go ghost hunting to a creepy old hotel. Of course, Bobby had state-of-the-art equipment. Once they arrived at the hotel, his equipment indicated there was strong paranormal activity going on. It looked like the ghost had a sense of humor and wanted to play hide-and-seek with them before it revealed itself. It led Bobby and Susan into a room with 4 doors. Each door had an inscription on it with some clues. The sign on door A said, "It's behind B or C." The sign on door B claimed, "It's behind A or D." Door C said, "It's in here." And door D stated, "The ghost isn't here." Bobby and Susan looked very confused until a note appeared next to their feet. It said, 3 of the inscriptions are false and 1 is true. Can you guess which door leads to the ghost? Let's see how this works. If the ghost was behind door A, then both statements B and D would be true. If it was behind door B, then both A and D would be true. If the ghost was behind door C, then A, C, and D would be all true. But if the ghost was behind door D, then the statements on all the doors would be false, except for that on door B. This fits the rules, so the ghost must be behind door D. The next morning, Bobby called Susan again, saying that he had a surprise. He had won 2 tickets to Susan's favorite theme park and asked her if she wanted to go. Before she answered, though, Bobby warned her that she had to crack a very difficult riddle. Only then would he give her a ticket. She agreed. For a school challenge, 100 students received a number between 1 and 100. Each student was instructed to go inside a classroom that had exactly 100 boxes randomly numbered from 1 to 100. Inside each box, there was a slip of paper with a random number between 1 and 100 on it. Now, each student needed to enter the classroom on their own and find the box that contained the slip of paper with their number on it. But in order to do so, each of them was only allowed to open a maximum of 50 boxes. They were instructed to leave the room exactly as they found it, and they weren't allowed to communicate with other students once they'd left the room. If all of the students managed to find their numbers inside the boxes, they would each get $100. But if one of them wasn't able to find their number, none of them would be able to win the prize. Bobby asked Susan if she knew the best strategy for all of the students to find their numbers and win the prize. After a few hours, Susan called Bobby with the answer. She managed to figure out the riddle. Can you guess what she answered? This riddle isn't obvious, but let's see how it works. If each student searched for their numbers randomly, they would each have a 50% chance of finding the box with their number inside. This is because there were 100 boxes and they were allowed to look inside 50 of them. However, the probability of all of them finding their own number following this random strategy is absurdly small. So, to increase their chances of collectively finding their numbers, they would need a better approach. The students could use something called the loop strategy. After entering the classroom, they should go directly toward the box that has their number on top of it. The number inside probably won't be their number, but that's okay. They should check the number inside the box and go look for the box with that same number on top of it, and so on and so forth. They should keep doing this until they find the paper with their number on it. This strategy means there's more than a 30% chance of the students finding their numbers and winning the prize. It's not a huge probability, but hey, at least they'll have fun trying to figure it out. One afternoon, Susan found her father, Frank, in the living room. Frank was a private investigator and he had just received a message revealing the address of the town's most dangerous criminal, Dirty Jack. He decided to go check the area, even though he didn't know what the criminal looked like. The address turned out to be an old warehouse. When he busted inside, he found 4 people sitting at a table. They were a carpenter, a truck driver, a mechanic, and a firefighter. Without any hesitation, Frank arrested the firefighter. How did he know it was the criminal? The firefighter was the only man in the room. The rest of the people were women. Bobby and Susan decided to go grab a cup of coffee. But when their orders arrived, Bobby's drink came with a fly in it. He called the waiter and asked him to change his cup. The waiter brought him another cup of coffee, but 2 seconds later, Bobby called the waiter again and said, "Hey, that's the same cup." How did he know? Because Bobby had already put sugar in his coffee. And when he tasted the new drink, it already had sugar in it. Susan and her family went on vacation to their country house, but unfortunately, it was raining heavily. It kept raining for 13 days. When it rained in the morning, the afternoon was beautiful and clear. And when it rained in the afternoon, the next day was blessed with a clear, sunny morning. Overall, Susan's family experienced 11 nice mornings and 12 nice afternoons. Can you find out the total number of days they spent in the country house? The total number is 18 days. Here's how you can figure it out. Let's call clear afternoons X, clear mornings Y, and periods of time with no rain O. This equation represents the number of days with rain, X plus Y equals 13. And here are the days with clear mornings, Y plus O equals 11. And this equation represents the days with clear afternoons, X plus O equals 12. If we solve these 3 equations, we'll learn that X equals 7, Y equals 6, and O equals 5. So the total number of days is 18. Bobby started his morning by jogging in the park near his house. When he returned, he got to know some very unpleasant news. Someone had stolen his car. He questioned 3 of his neighbors. Henry said, "I've been playing video games for the past 12 hours and haven't left my basement." Rosie said, "I'm a gardener. I've been planting daisies in the public area all morning, and I think I saw a suspicious man who opened the car using a knife." Jack said, "I saw your car when I went out for groceries, but when I returned home, it was gone." Who's lying? Rosie. She said she planted daisies, but look, there are only rose bushes in this area. One day, Susan found a box on her desk with a note that read, "What can run but never walks, has a mouth but never speaks, has a head but never weeps, has a bed but never sleeps." Can you decipher this riddle? The correct answer is a river.